For decades, researchers have been trying to communicate with Bigfoot. But have you ever wondered who he is trying to communicate with?
Breaking news out of Texas, Bigfoot is real.
Just now, Special Ops captured Bigfoot deep in the Alaskan forest. They were skiing through thick snow, weighed down by heavy packs filled with survival gear, just trying to stay unseen and handle the tough wilderness. Led by the keen-eyed Miles, they strayed off their planned path, driven by the hope of discovering a new way through the dense forest. What horrors lurk in these silent, snowy woods far from any help? Join us to expose what shocking secrets are hidden deep in the forest. Survival and mystery in Alaska's wilderness. Desperate to understand more, the explorers decided to see how these large steps compare to what a person could do in the same conditions. One of the soldiers took off his snowshoes and tried to mimic the stride. Despite his best efforts, he sank into the snows up to his knees with each step, barely covering 1.5 feet. This was a big difference compared to the 5-foot strides of the mysterious prince. They carefully studied the footprints, noticing how clear the edges were and how the snow around them was undisturbed, with no signs of dragging or disruption. This strange observation made them think deeply as they continued their trek through the silent, snow-covered wilderness. The sergeant, who was a particularly sharp leader, told the group to record their findings in detail. He knew that this detailed report could be important for understanding the unusual things they were encountering in this remote, snowy place. As they moved on, the quiet forest seemed to grow even quieter, the snow crunching softly under their feet, adding to the mysterious feeling of their journey. But this wasn't the most puzzling part. The forest seemed to be hiding more secrets, waiting just ahead. The tracks led them over mountain ridges, under thick trees, and through wet, swampy areas. It was clear that the creature knew how to move quietly and stay hidden, almost like it was using techniques similar to those of trained soldiers. As the day turned into night and the temperature dropped, the team set up camp. They heated up their prepackaged meals and unrolled their sleeping bags under the stars. But their calm evening didn't last long. In the early morning, Miles woke up to a strange noise that began like a wolf's howl, but quickly turned into a loud, echoing roar. He could hear something big moving through the forest, getting closer to their camp, and then suddenly stopping. Everything went quiet for a moment, except for the sound of something pacing around, breaking branches and rustling leaves. The rest of the team woke up, alarmed by the unsettling sounds. After a few tense minutes, the noises stopped, only to be followed by a chilling mix of a howl, roar, and scream that cut through the night and sent shivers down everyone's spine. They quickly turned on their flashlights, scanning the darkness, trying to catch a glimpse of whatever was out there. A strange noise in the dark forest leads to a startling find. A night in the forest. They were out there scanning the area, but they didn't see anything. They had no weapons. This was just a practice drill, not a real battle, so they felt vulnerable and exposed. Miles decided they would pack up and leave as soon as the sun came up. But before dawn, a sudden noise startled them. A tree was being forcefully knocked down. They noticed some movement high up in the trees and then heard the loud crack as the tree broke and fell. Quickly, they gathered their gear. As they were about to leave, Miles and another soldier came across more large footprints in an area that seemed to be frequently visited by whatever was out there. Nearby, they found a massive pine tree, about 12 inches thick and 35 feet tall, that had been cleanly snapped in half. As they made their way out at sunrise, Miles couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of something bigger. They chose to keep what they had seen to themselves to avoid any trouble or disbelief from others. Everyone agreed it was best to stay quiet about it, yet Miles kept wondering what might have happened if they had followed those tracks further. Later, during a chat with Anthony, his neighbor from northeastern Washington, the topic of the Fairchild Air Force Base Survival School came up. The school hands out topographical maps filled with survival tips, including a section on dangerous wildlife. Interestingly, this section even had an illustration of a Sasquatch. This small nod from an official source made Miles feel a bit more at ease about their decision to keep the incident under wraps. He often thought about the large creature they had followed. Could it have really been a Sasquatch? This question lingered in his mind, especially since the government-issued maps seemed to suggest the possibility of such beings. The Sasquatch, also known as Bigfoot, is believed by some to live in the forests of North America, particularly in the Pacific Northwest and Western Canada. The word Sasquatch comes from Saskets, a term from the Sincales community meaning wild man or hairy man. For many indigenous cultures across North America, this creature is more than just a myth. It's an important part of their traditions. They see it as a protector of the forest, able to move between our world and the spiritual one. But this wasn't the most surprising part. Discussions about this mysterious creature started gaining attention during the early exploration of North America's wilderness. Reports of Sasquatch sightings in North America go back to the late 1800s. One of the earliest recorded mentions was in an 1884 issue of Victoria's British colonist newspaper. It talked about the capture of a strange creature near Yale, British Columbia. This creature, called Jacko, looked like a mix between a human and an animal. It had a strong resemblance to a gorilla and was covered in thick black fur. Even though people still argue about whether Sasquatch is real, this story caught the attention and curiosity of many. As the years went by and into the 1900s, more stories of similar creatures started to appear. For example, in 1924, a group of miners near Mount St. Helens claimed they were attacked by large apes. These events got a lot of media coverage and made the public even more interested. By the 1950s, the name Bigfoot started to be used. Loggers in California found large footprints near Bluff Creek, and a 1958 newspaper article that focused on these mysterious tracks helped popularize the name. As doubts rise, the stories of old demand a closer look. The strange quest for Sasquatch. But despite all the sightings and stories over the years, solid proof of Sasquatch's existence is still missing. People who say they've seen it often describe a tall, two-legged figure covered in dark fur, standing between 6 to 15 feet tall. They also mention a bad smell and sometimes glowing eyes. Large footprints, up to 24 inches long and 8 inches wide, have been found, though some of these were later proven to be fake. One well-known piece of supposed evidence is the Patterson-Gimlin film from 1967, which shows what looks like a large, hairy creature walking through the woods in Bluff Creek, California. Some people believe the footage is real, while others think it's just someone in a costume. But that's not the only surprising part. Sasquatch has become a big part of popular culture. It has inspired many books, movies, and TV shows. For instance, the 1987 film Harry and the Hendersons shows Sasquatch as a friendly giant who becomes part of a human family, offering a kind-hearted view of what is usually seen as a scary creature. Sasquatch also has an important place in various Native American traditions. The Sincales community, for example, sees a Sasquatch sighting as a sign that you're in the right place at the right time. Meanwhile, the Haida tell the story of Gagishid, a mythical figure similar to Sasquatch, which plays a role in their cultural stories. But these cultural connections and stories aren't even the most puzzling part. A man transforms into a mystical creature after getting lost in the woods. The Coast Salish people have stories about Tsemekas, mysterious beings that wander the forest at night. Even though there's no scientific proof, the tale of Sasquatch endures, supported by many personal stories and its deep cultural significance. Some researchers think Sasquatch might be a descendant of a large ancient ape that traveled from Asia to North America a long time ago. However, there's no fossil evidence to back this up. Sasquatch represents the mysteries that still captivate us. Groups like the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization are dedicated to finding proof and collecting stories. But despite all this, some people remain doubtful. They believe that sightings are just animals being mistaken for something else, or that the stories are entirely made up. Still, the legend of Sasquatch continues to be a fascinating part of North American folklore. Anthony's stories, shared with Miles, have only deepened his curiosity, drawing him further into this world of wonder and questions. The Sincales, also known as the Chehalis First Nation, are part of the Coast Salish community living in the lower mainland of British Columbia, Canada. Their name, Sincales, meaning the beating heart in their Halkamilim language, reflects their deep connection to their land and culture. The Sincales have a rich history full of traditions and stories. One of their oldest tales is about an Indian doctor named Shay, who lived near Harrison Lake. He fought against a powerful being named Jah. After defeating Shay, Jah threw his heart toward the rivers. The place where it landed beat like a heart, giving their area its name. But this isn't the only part of their story. The Sincales are also known for keeping their traditions alive through storytelling, fishing, and ceremonies. They work hard to preserve their language Halkamalim by using it every day, teaching it in schools, and incorporating it into their governance. They manage their community according to their traditional laws and strongly believe in self-governance. The Sisales community shows their strength through their traditions. Sisales' path towards reconciliation. The Sisales community has several groups that focus on different important areas, like law, taking care of the environment, and managing natural resources. The community's leaders, including the chief and the council, work hard to make sure that the Sisales' rights and land claims are respected. A big achievement for them was reaching a reconciliation agreement with the government of British Columbia. This agreement helps them reach their goals in many areas, including protecting the environment. As part of the agreement, the Sisales received 167 hectares of land along the Chehalis River, financial support for self-governance, and resources to develop tourism, recreation, and environmental projects. This agreement is an important step in building a more cooperative relationship with the provincial government. Education is very important to the Sisales. They run a school where children learn standard subjects along with traditional skills like basket weaving, fishing, and wood carving. These lessons are key to keeping their culture alive and passing it on to the younger generation. The community also encourages higher education and training for its members. Taking care of the environment is a major focus for the Sisales. They use their traditional knowledge in modern ways to manage forest gardens and other natural resources. This shows their deep connection to the land and their commitment to living sustainably. But this is only part of their story. In health and social services, the Sisales have made great strides. They established the Telmex-Watex-W Healing Center, which provides a variety of health and wellness programs. They also have plans to build a primary healthcare facility with support from the province. Cultural tours and events play a big role in the Sisales community as well. Through these activities, they share their history, customs, and the beautiful landscapes of their lands with others. These events are crucial for keeping their traditions alive and strong within and beyond their community. But the challenges and efforts of the Sisales community don't end here. The Sisales community has faced many challenges and has worked hard to defend their rights over the years. They have been involved in legal battles and discussions to protect their land and cultural identity. A recent reconciliation agreement shows their ongoing efforts and offers a hopeful path forward. This community represents strength, cultural identity, and a deep connection to their ancestral lands. They honor their heritage while also looking for ways to grow and move forward. They manage their own affairs, focus on education, and are committed to protecting the environment, creating a future that respects their traditions and strives for independence and well-being. But there's more to their story, and it shows how they handled different aspects of life while staying true to their roots. For example, in Indonesia, there's the orang pendek, a smaller but strong ape-like creature that lives in Sumatra's dense forests. The name orang pendek means short person in Indonesian. Unlike Bigfoot, it is only 3 to 5 feet tall, but is known for its incredible strength. Both locals and some researchers claim to have seen it. Many expeditions have gone into the jungle to find solid proof of the orang pendek, but so far only footprints and handprints have been found. In Brazil, the Amazon rainforest is home to the legend of the mapinguari. This creature is famous for its bad smell and loud screams. Descriptions of the mapinguari's appearance are quite different. Some say it looks like a giant sloth, while others compare it to an ape. Some stories even describe it as having a mouth on its belly or a single eye on its forehead. But these wild descriptions haven't stopped reports of sightings, keeping the legend alive in local folklore. And yet the mystery deepens as more people come forward with their stories. From Australia to the Himalayas, tales of mysterious creatures stir curiosity. Australia's Yowie and other hidden giants. In Australia, there's a creature similar to Bigfoot called the Yowie. It's a part of Aboriginal folklore and is said to stand between 6 and 12 feet tall with long limbs and orange-brown fur. People have reported seeing it across the country, especially in Queensland and New South Wales. The Yowie is usually shy, but there have been times when it acted aggressively. Aboriginal rock art shows tall, hairy figures, suggesting that the Yowie has been a part of local stories for a long time. In North America, there are similar legends among Native American cultures, like the Ojibwe and Dakota tribes. They talk about a being known as the Rougarou, or Big Man, who shows up during important or dangerous times. These sightings are taken very seriously and are deeply respected within these communities. In the Himalayas, there's another mysterious creature called the Yeti, or Abominable Snowman. It's believed to live in the icy mountains and is described as a large ape-like figure with white or gray fur. The Yeti is respected in local traditions as a protector of the mountains. In the 20th century, Western interest in the Yeti grew, drawing adventurers and researchers eager to uncover the secrets of these high peaks. But the most surprising part? Despite the fear these creatures inspire, they are often seen as protectors in their local cultures. Many people have explored these mysteries, but we still don't have solid proof. In Mongolia, there's a creature called the Almas, which is similar to others but has some key differences. The Almas looks more like a human and is covered in reddish-brown fur. What's interesting is that according to local stories, the Almas sometimes interacts with people. These stories keep the legend of the Almas alive in the region. Stories like these from all around the world show how fascinated we are by the unknown. Even though these creatures look and act differently, they have some things in common, like leaving big footprints, having thick hair, and being hard to find. But these aren't just tales, they are an important part of cultural history. They enrich local traditions and remind us of a shared curiosity about the mysterious corners of our world. What other undiscovered mysteries might be hiding in plain sight? Like, comment with your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe for more.